Hello mga ka-PDAX, we are starting soon. Please tag your friends. Okay na to. Okay na okay yung talk na to. So please tag your friends. It's an afternoon of learning with Open Journals. Joseph, one and only Joseph. See you guys in a bit. Thank you. And a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are live. Good afternoon, mga ka-PDAX, and welcome to Crypto Convos with Open Journal. I'm your host here, Kyle. And I just want to say hello. Hi, guys. Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. How's everyone doing? Okay naman. Okay naman. Goods. I hope everyone's been having a great week, and I'm sure you guys want to. You guys are hungry for knowledge, no? And that's why we're on here in Crypto Convos. We try to satisfy that hunger through these crypto convos, no? So just one before we get down to business and introduce Joseph onto the stage. I'll just our usual disclaimers, right? So the views and opinions that are expressed in this webinar are only that of the presenters and do not necessarily reflect the company's views. And finally, the statements being made are not to be treated as investment or financial advice. Please exercise caution when buying and selling cryptocurrencies as they are highly volatile. And finally, if this is your first time watching this crypto convos and you're wondering, ano ba si PDAX? Sino ba si PDAX? PDAX is the BSP licensed digital asset exchange. So we stand for the Philippine Digital Asset Exchange that allows Filipinos to buy and sell digital assets such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP, Bitcoin Cash, USDT, USDC, Chainlink, Uniswap, GRT, Engine, BAT, and Comp. Now, so you can get started through our website at pdax.ph. You can also download our app on your Android, Huawei, or even iOS devices. No, we are live there. You can download and get started for as low as 200 pesos worth of Philippine pesos. Now, ayun. So, with that, I won't delay it further. No, I'm introducing here the CMO of Open Journal and a portfolio manager of Buhay Investment Manager. This is none other than Joseph. Joseph, welcome.
Hello, Kyle. What's up?
Hey.
Good afternoon, my friend. How are you?
Good afternoon. Great. Mainit pero I think hungry for knowledge as always. I think our viewers can also attest to that now. So
Awesome.
Very excited for your presentation today.
Sure. So, game, let's go. What's up,
Get right
everyone? Happy Wednesday and good afternoon. Welcome. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to be here with us on a Wednesday afternoon, for an opportunity to have some fun and learn some new things. I'm looking forward to sharing some updates, insights, and information about all things metaverse. But before that, just wanted to introduce myself first in the event that we have some new PDAX family members joining for the first time. So guys, kung may mga bago who are attending my series, Crypto Convos, in partnership with PDAX for the first time, could you guys please type hello para I can acknowledge you and welcome you over here kung may mga bago. So We've been doing this series with PDAX, Open Journal, for the past few months. And for those of you not familiar with Open Journal, we're essentially a community and family of traders engaged in the cryptocurrency markets. Given our area of expertise, research, and study, we really look at the cryptocurrency space as the next big thing over the next decade and even longer, which is why we pivoted our community and our business to zero in and focus on this cryptocurrency opportunity to be able to help everyone reach their financial goals, whatever that may be. And of course, this was co founded by Javi Medina and Matt Flores, colleagues and associates of mine. So if you guys have any questions about Open Journal, you can put it over on the chat, and my colleagues and OJ fam members will be able to help entertain, and we'll also have time later on for some more Q&A. So with that said, let me just share my screen and we can begin our presentation usapan for today. Quite a lot of things to talk about, and I'm pretty excited. So I just wanted to also say happy all-time high, guys. Happy all-time high Ethereum, Bitcoin. Really awesome to see this price appreciation, and I hope everyone is maximizing these opportunities and are deployed or engaged in whatever meaningful way in the cryptocurrency space. But more than just cryptocurrency, more than just trading or looking at crypto as a financial asset class, we need to understand more blockchain and the developments in the space at large, which includes a discussion on the metaverse and its future. You guys might be wondering, ano ba yung metaverse na to? Are you talking about like Facebook mismo? Because Facebook also is talking about the metaverse, or are you talking about a certain coin, etc.? Yeah, we're gonna be discussing all of that today, and we're gonna start right now and talk about it. So, pa-intro muna, before we get on to some technical or more serious stuff, we're gonna keep this light and informative. And guys, kung may mga tanong kayo, just put it there, and I'll try to entertain as many as I can, and we'll also have a separate session towards the end of my presentation. So first off, the metaverse isn't something entirely new, right? Even though it's been popping a lot on the news, on social media, given that Facebook rebranded to be Meta, and Zuck has plans to go deeper into the metaverse and add value. More on that later. But I just wanted to talk about how the metaverse has been portrayed in pop culture, specifically in Hollywood. And to those of you familiar with some of these movies, it's really nothing new. And to those of you maybe from my generation, a bit older or a bit younger, I hope you'll be able to relate with some of these things, if not all of them. The first is, of course, Neo in The Matrix, right? Being able to enter via one's subconscious to be able to go into this virtual world where there are virtual world problems, and those have an effect on his character and have an effect on the world at large, right? Next up is Spy Kids 3. I'm not sure if you guys know this movie, but they entered this virtual reality game and had to grind, level up, drive cars, sapakan, shooting enemies, etc. Childhood favorite of mine, Spy Kids 3, where they entered this video game. Lastly is Tron, right? Tron Legacy, where also the characters entered this particular metaverse or virtual world and faced antagonists and problems with that, which also had some real life implications. So what I'm getting at here is that in literature or in pop culture, past decade, more than 10 years ago, already dabbled into the metaverse in one way, shape, or form. And my personal favorite, which I think a lot of you will know, and if you don't know it, I highly recommend you do watch it, is Ready Player One, right? And I talked about this in previous talks I've had, as well as in my NFT discussion around 2 months ago, that in my personal opinion, this is one of the end all be all demonstrations of what the metaverse seeks to be: a full on immersion and visceral experience into a virtual 3D world where you can use AR, VR, move around, you can get into missions, earn money, even be a millionaire in that world, buy skins, buy avatars, buy property, buy vehicles, make friends, get into a relationship, get employed, and even die, right? And if you guys haven't seen the film, I really urge you to watch it. When I saw that movie like a few years back, I was like, whoa, this is gonna be cool. And at that point in time, it wasn't the buzzword it is now of metaverse. Buzzword na siya. In the sense that the buzzword a few months ago was NFT, right? Non-fungible tokens. Then before that was like Dogecoin, altcoin trading, and even at one point in time, Ripple, XRP, right? All of these lower cap coins before, when altcoin trading wasn't as popular as it is now, and when NFT flipping didn't exist yet, right? Now we're faced with this new, highly sensationalized buzzword of the metaverse. And if I were to really just describe in one phrase or sentence what the metaverse is, it's essentially the internet and you being in it instead of just watching it or seeing it. Does that make sense? It's a more immersive experience. Pero syempre naman, we don't have the technology to be able to literally go inside and hop inside the blockchain just yet, or to put a portion of our subconscious into the computer systems that operate all of this technology. But it's essentially a start. And I also wanted to say that the metaverse has been around for some time. We're going to take a look at the history later, but it's also nothing entirely new. And I think a lot of people are asking the wrong question. When a lot of people ask, when is the metaverse going to happen? Or how do I partake in the metaverse? Or where is the metaverse? Ladies and gentlemen, the metaverse is now. We have been living in it. We are living in it. And we will continue to live in it. And there are just going to be constant upgrades and new innovations to make this technology a more seamless portion of our lives. Now, you might be wondering, why is that the case? The very fact that there are people from all parts of the country and maybe even some OFW brothers and sisters attending this live, or to those of you who are going to watch this talk later after work and it's a recording available on live, this is essentially a technological development that allows us to interact in this sort of virtual shared space we're all in right now, right? We don't have to go to a convention center like SMX. And since the pandemic, I've been doing a lot of these series online, right? The advent of Zoom, work from home, all of these virtual spaces created to be able to achieve a particular end goal, whether it be a discussion like this or attending school, for instance, through distance learning, or even full on business model pivots to no longer having an office, no longer even meeting your boss or your colleague. Everything's done digitally through MS Teams, through Slack, or whatever kind of platform or app you choose. Now, before we talk about examples of the metaverse, I wanted to talk about components of the metaverse. So when I talk about these examples and demonstrations later on, you're going to be able to pick apart certain common characteristics that make up that particular metaverse or 3D virtual reality. So here are some components of the metaverse. We'll talk about them right now. And just to be clear, this is in no way an exhaustive list, right? This is an oversimplified list of what to look for in a metaverse. And let's get straight onto it. So I think first in a metaverse, you need to have an avatar or a character, whether that's you or whether that's the persona you're creating. You have to have your personal representation or 3D representation of a player in the particular world. And of course, your avatar should seamless be able to move across the metaverse, right? You want to be able to travel from place to place and even later on be able to travel across metaverses. And not to preempt what I'll say later, but that's my biggest criticism of all of these metaverses being created. Is there a way to merge them all together? Similar to the internet, right? Similar to, let's say, Google Chrome, wherein it's this platform in which I can access the internet and be able to take a look at all of these different sites, get all of these plugins, and simply use that browser to interact with the world, right? And I'm sure that there are some projects who are already working on these intertwinements of different blockchains and different metaverses. To a large extent, it's quite fragmented now, right? Meaning, if I were to create an avatar on Decentraland, it won't be the same avatar I'm going to create on Sandbox, right? So it's quite fragmented to a large extent. But yeah, that's the first component of a metaverse, a 3D representation of your player or yourself. And in the metaverse, you can even have multiple avatars. You could have your gaming avatar if maglalaro ka ng game. You could have your real life, totoong Josef avatar. And you can even have your professional avatar if you're going to be attending a meeting or a virtual kind of event, if you're going to attend a concert, etc. And that makes the metaverse quite interesting because now people can personify themselves in a social and creative way outside the limitations of the real world. If you guys watched the video of Mark Zuck talking about Facebook and Meta, which we'll also elaborate on later, he was playing poker and his friend was like a robot. And another friend was like a genie or some holographic-esque persona. Then another person was like wearing something else, highly customizable. And it's super cool. But if you think about it, aren't we kind of there already to an extent? Every time you play a game, you have your character in a game, right? Or your Facebook profile, or your Instagram profile, or your Twitter profile. These are largely customizable depending on the use case. Like, I'm pretty sure your LinkedIn profiles are more professional than your Instagram accounts or your Twitter accounts who probably have an NFT picture you're flexing. Makes sense so far, right? Like, it's a way in which you can interact and depict yourself. The second is a bit loaded, so please bear with me over here, right? The metaverse has to have wide and varied functionality, interoperability, and an earnings mechanism or tokenomics. That was a mouthful, but just take a look at my example. If I bought a Ferrari NFT, I want to be able to drive it around in a game or in a track. I want to compete with my friends. I want to be able to race. I want to be able to drive on the Decentraland, for example. But when I'm done driving it, I also want to, park it in my garage of my virtual home. But my virtual home is like a beefed up version of my real house, right? If my real house is 2 stories, heck, I want my virtual condominium to have 15 floors. Sky's the limit to my imagination. And then I want to have a NFT gallery in my house where I can display that Ferrari NFT I bought. But I also want to be able to use it if I want to go to a virtual concert of Travis Scott or Ariana Grande in Fortnite. But hey, if I want to liquidate my investment, I also want to be able to sell my Ferrari NFT, rent it out if I want to get passive and consistent cash flow, and on top of that, earn in cryptocurrency, right? So everything I demonstrated would essentially and theoretically be possible in the metaverse, assuming that these different blockchains and metaverses are able to be connected. And that's what I mean by a varied functionality and interoperability. Because to a large extent, what we're seeing right now is they're very much fragmented, like I characterized earlier. The NFT I buy on Polka City, for example, there are so many processes for me to be able to sell that, if possible, on OpenSea or on Rarible. Or I'm not even sure if that's possible, and I can only sell that insofar as the Polka City ecosystem is concerned. You get what I mean? There needs to be a way in which all of these facets and characteristics interact with each other in a seamless, real life esque transaction or life, like Ready Player One, to make it attractive to people to participate in, to use, to play in, and be immersed in. Now, the third is more mature technology. Because last time I checked, I'll be surprised if I'm wrong, that Ready Player One technology isn't commercially viable just yet. There might be select billionaires in the world, in Russia, or in some socialist state who have access to that. But generally speaking, we're not just there quite yet in terms of scale. And I don't think we're just there quite yet in terms of use case. Like in Ready Player One, pag nagbabarilan sila, you can feel the pushback of the bullets hitting your chest. You won't die. It won't be painful per se, but you can feel like the effect of it when your character experiences it, or if you get hit by a club because it's a combat kind of game. So we also need to see the extent of technology maturing in order to have a great user experience. And we're pretty much seeing that already in all of the developments in artificial intelligence, in VR, virtual reality, or AR, augmented reality, if you want some real world kind of interface and it's not full on VR. That's pretty interesting. So now let's take a look at how the metaverse has evolved, taking a history on the metaverse, especially in terms of gaming. Because to an arguable extent, I would like to prove that video games, which have been around for quite some time, are essentially metaverses. Some more elaborate than others, some with more customizability and more depth. But take a look at these examples. Real life examples of metaverses, taking a look at gaming as a use case. Are you guys familiar with Second Life? So this was a website, a platform. It's not a game per se, in which, yeah, you could have a second life. make internet friends, build an internet house, have an internet group of family members, do internet job stuff, etc. Think of it kind of like Sims. This started out in around 2003, so more than a decade ago, and this was one of the first applications or attempts, if I'm not mistaken, to a so-called metaverse. But definitely at that point in time, it wasn't called a metaverse just yet. Maybe you guys have nieces, nephews, or maybe even children or grandchildren who don't stop talking about Minecraft or Roblox, right? I have a nephew, he's 7 years old, and he plays both these games, and I don't understand it. Or I only recently appreciated these games in which are multiplayer games in which applications could be created by users and people can play those games. And for Minecraft, you can build anything to your heart's content and mind's creativity, right? I've seen some worlds created on Minecraft na parang mukhang Star Wars or mukhang Game of Thrones. I think someone built a King's Landing or a Westeros kind of model. So very, very interesting to see these particular developments. And sure, you might be saying, well, those don't have cryptocurrencies per se. They're largely still centralized by a company, given that, Roblox just had their IPO, if I'm not mistaken, last year. Or, it's just a game in which you can participate in. But guys, that's the first step, right? Do you remember when games started adopting microtransactions by virtue of your App Store and Android store? Kasi before, all of these things were free already, right? You buy a video game, you play it, you're done. You wait for the sequel. But now, corporations got smarter and leveraged on these microtransactions, whether those are DLCs, downloadable content, or buying your in-game currency with fiat money to be able to get a skin, to be able to get a new gun, to be able to get a new character, or whatever application that would have on that game. That kind of sounds like the forefronts of NFTs, right? Which weren't called NFTs back then, but right now are essentially becoming NFTs. Case in point, to those of you who play Fortnite, I was super surprised when I found out there was a live concert within the game's own ecosystem or metaverse, featuring Ariana Grande, Travis Scott, Marshmello, all of these different artists who had a virtual concert in the Fortnite ecosystem or metaverse. And I was checking because I played Fortnite before, super sucked, didn't super like the building aspect, and I chose to play Call of Duty instead. But the way this was mechanized was, if I'm not mistaken, you go to the battle royale option, and instead of having a usual Barilan Squid Game-esque battle to the finish, there's a concert that players can attend and listen to the music while also doing some mini games and side quests. It's pretty wild, all things considered, right? Now, this is just gaming. We're going to talk more about some business application later, but just a quick segue. All of you might be wondering about it. Okay, when is he going to talk about Facebook's branding transition? Let's take a look at it right now. When Facebook and Zuck rebranded to Meta a few days ago, right? This essentially was their way to really assert more relevance. This is my opinion, quite debatable. But personally, I honestly think Facebook hasn't done anything completely innovative the past 8-10 years, net of their acquisition of Instagram and WhatsApp. That's just my opinion. Like seriously, what cool thing have they rolled out since then? Changing become a fan to like, right? So in my opinion, I think this is a strategic way for the business to maximize their acquisition of Oculus, which you can see over here. They acquired Oculus and they're continuing to acquire other VR related businesses. And this is part and parcel of Facebook Horizon, which is their own metaverse, their own 3D virtual reality where you can do all of the things I talked about earlier. Have an avatar, see your friends, travel, quote unquote, attend virtual meetings, build a virtual life, etc. And it's really interesting because it also comes at a time where Facebook's also under attack from a lot of legislative fronts. To those of you familiar with the Facebook papers or the Cambridge Analytica scandal, I don't want to get too political and it's not my wheelhouse, but what I mean is Instagram, WhatsApp, or Oculus by Meta sounds kind of fresher than Instagram, WhatsApp, and Oculus by Facebook. So it's a multi pronged marketing ploy, in my personal opinion, to position to what's relevant, which is the metaverse, as well as pivoting away from stenchy branding, which had a lot of tarnish already, and attack from a lot of different stakeholders. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about, and this is related to, in my opinion, the last time Facebook did something cool, were the Facebook games. Do you guys remember that back in, I don't know, 08, 2010, somewhere there where everyone was playing this stuff? I personally played Pet Society, I played Mafia Wars a bit, and that was pretty fun at its time, right? It was quite revolutionary at its point in time where you could play these things with your friends and you had your own microcosm of a society there, and it was just kind of fun, right? But then not much innovation really happened. Other corporations and gaming technology developed as smartphones became more accessible. You know, why would I play Facebook simple game on my browser if I could play stuff on the App Store or Android Play Store, right? Now, this is just very interesting. And the point I wanted to make here was in no way, shape, or form was Facebook responsible for the metaverse. They're just participating in it now or pivoting their business model into it given the relevance and strategic use case for their business. The metaverse, like I've talked about, has been around for quite some time, and later we'll talk about other more novel metaverse projects, which also have respective cryptocurrencies. And yeah, the same way you had corporations like MicroStrategy, PayPal, Tesla, and even institutions like Credit Suisse, BlackRock, etc., creating on-ramps to participate in cryptocurrency, whether that be Saylor's strategy of incorporating a portion or transforming a portion of his retained earnings into Bitcoin, or accepting cryptocurrency as payment, or creating ETFs for cryptocurrency. All of these traditional institutions are coming in now and are in no way the leaders. In fact, they're the laggards already. Because the beauty about blockchain, cryptocurrency, and the metaverse is that this is the first time the small man or Main Street is able to front run Wall Street. Tayo, mga retail individual investors, have a first mover advantage compared to all of these larger institutions coming in now and getting skin in the game. Now, where do we go from here? You talked about, or I talked about gaming, I talked about pop culture, I talked about the Facebook news. What are some adoptions of the metaverse? So here's one, right? Microsoft Mesh. They're now following suit from Facebook Horizon, the same with Nvidia, or the same with any other large tech giant, even Chinese ones, starting to deploy investment in the metaverse, whatever that might mean, right? Whether that be in VR or AR, whether that be in gaming or the creation of ecosystems where people can create profiles and transact or play games or do any combination of those things. Another one is Blanco's Block Party by Mythical Games. And this was something that Bell or CoinFem and I were, checking out. And sobrang cool nito because, yeah, it's an NFT sort of ecosystem. You can attend block parties, make friends. But there's also a huge flex culture here. The flex culture with Blancos is that there are designers or brands who are partnering up with Blancos to be able to sell those items for NFTs, right? If I want to buy an insert branded item for my avatar or my character, then I'll be able to do that. And I can rep or flex that in the game or in this metaverse. Isn't that kind of wild, right? I mean, I'm sure people collect or purchase luxury goods in real life. But now this flex culture, or what Gary Vaynerchuk and Raoul Pal refer to as the tokenization of culture by virtue of NFTs, are now applicable in the metaverse. And to those of you who attended my NFT talk, I was saying these NFTs are going to be even more relevant when they could be flexed, when they could be shown off, when they could be displayed. And now we're seeing that happen in the metaverse. The metaverse is the culmination of blockchain technology, cryptocurrency payment, DeFi, NFTs, and it's something super cool. Like 5, 8 years ago, I'm sure people in the space had no idea we would be here, right? I remember when I started my crypto journey and immersion back in 2017, and I was like, it's a hedge, it's a financial asset class. It's showing strength. I'll trade it, I'll diversify, I'll accumulate. But the beauty of this all is we're now seeing further and concretized adoption by virtue of real life application. Legit. Like, in no way of my imagination would we have really thought that we'd start seeing it. Because for the longest time, you had Bitcoin or Ethereum maxis talking all sorts of shit about why it's important. Then people would just be like, what can I do with it? What is the use case? Other than being an inflation hedge or a tool for diversification. And now we're seeing it. And I'm sure this isn't new. It's just becoming popularized and more mainstream right now, right? Now, how big is this metaverse thing? So when I was computing earlier, insofar as my due diligence was concerned, before I go on to the size of that, I also want to talk about how there are also even more events now being featured in the metaverse or in virtual worlds of their own. So shout out to Belle or CoinFem. She was able to attend a Forbes 30 under 30 metaverse event presented by Rocket Mortgage. And this was in a metaverse. She created an avatar or persona, then you go on to the site, which is a metaverse, and sobrang cool. Like when I saw the screenshots, when she shared screen, there was a lot of product placement as well. take a look at Macallan, right? So alcoholic beverages getting advertisement space in the metaverse. Isn't that in and of itself mind-boggling? It creates a whole new line between above the line and below the line marketing or advertising. Are we gonna have, I don't know, meta line or in between the line? You get what I mean? I mean, it's endless. The possibility for corporations to have events, to be able to network, to be able to meet people across the world in all of the different continents we're all from. It just opens the horizon for that, and it's super cool to see that. If you want more updates on crypto or other updates on blockchain, you can check out CoinFam on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Marami ring mga memes and entertaining content, so check it out. So now going back to what I was talking about earlier, the size of the pie of the metaverse, and if I'm not mistaken, could be up or below a few percentages or standard deviation. It's around 3%, 2.6% of the total cryptocurrency market cap. And what we're seeing right now is the total pie or size by virtue of total cryptocurrency market cap, which by the way, palakpakan po, we just hit 3 trillion. This whole pie is getting larger. And what that simply means, what we can extrapolate from that is all of the respective slices are going to get bigger, whether that be DeFi, whether that be play to earn, whether that be metaverse. I'm not saying all in here it's going to make money. What I'm saying is take a look at the total addressable market and the rate in which cryptocurrency is growing and maturing, the fastest growing technology around 100+% versus the internet back then of around 60 something percent. And this just shows the growing potential and adoption for this subset in the cryptocurrency space. If you take a look at the different coins arranged by highest to lowest market cap, you have Axie Infinity, which I talked about extensively, I think a few months ago on PDAX as well, or on Investa, one of the talks there. You can check it out. But also recently, Decentraland or Mana and Sandbox or Sand, umarangkada ito. These cryptos, metaverse coins, went up 200, 300%. Congratulations to everyone who made money here. I hope that you're all sitting pretty with your profits, and congratulations, right? Now, if we take a deeper look at those two projects, Decentraland and Sandbox, there's a lot of cool stuff here. So Decentraland, or ticker symbol Mana, it's another metaverse where you can go out and about and visit places or cities. You can customize your profile, make new friends, create a network, have fun. But other interesting stuff in this metaverse is NFT galleries. You can create or house NFT galleries. You can also visit them. And if I'm not mistaken, you can also even buy or sell or bid in these particular NFT galleries, right? Pretty awesome. You also have the Atari Casino, in which Atari, you know Atari, were able to create this virtual casino in Decentraland for it to be operational by the people of that particular metaverse. Personally, haven't tried it, so I'm not aware of the specifics, but this is just proof of how all of these things are coming together, right? Gaming, gambling, virtual cyberspaces, play to earn NFTs, and guys, even real estate, right? So this figure is from 2018, so it's not the most updated, but the average price per square foot of land on Decentraland is more expensive than some parts of the states. And I think I had a conversation with my friend Nell last year of City Securities. And, Nell, shout out. I miss you, buddy. I remember the talk we had about, we were talking about land plots on Decentraland. And we were like, oh, fuck, WTF? Land in Decentraland on a per square foot or square meter basis is more than BGC. This was like a year and a half ago, kind of pre-pandemic or somewhere there. And it's just mind-boggling, right? It's mind-boggling that we're at a day and age where all of these cool stuff are happening and we're at the forefront of this technology. Now, Sandbox, quite derivative. When I looked at it, it kind of looks like a metaverse version of Roblox. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they all have similar characteristics, even to Axie Infinity, right? We're even gonna start seeing Axie Land. Those things start to roll out, and all of the games within these ecosystems, as well as the tokens as well. So they're all pretty much similar. And I'm sure you can start spotting similar characteristics between the different metaverses, different ecosystems I talked about. And the common denominator is it's super awesome, right? I'm not shilling metaverse tokens here. This in no way is specific financial advice. I'm just an average, reasonable human being, perplexed by the technological advancement happening around me. I mean, it's super cool. Who would have thought that we'd be seeing this? And it's an honor to be able to, make money at the same time as participate and be immersed in this technology. Now, before we get on to your favorite part, Q&A and watch lists, I just wanted to culminate with some thoughts which I had about metaverse. So my two sats or my 2 cents, no to fiat, no to centralization, DeFi po tayo. So 2 sats. My 2 sats regarding everything I just said, and to a large extent, these are rhetorical questions. But if you have an answer to them or want to participate in the discussion, we can talk about that in the chat here or in the Q&A. So my first idea is the business model, the tokenomics of their environment, the utility token or reward token, and the ability to execute their white paper and projects are going to be tested over time. And this isn't exclusive to Metaverse. I say the same thing about 90% of the altcoins, 90% of play to earn, 90% of DeFi. A lot of these in the long run will probably go to shit, but that's where due diligence comes in. That's where economies of scale come in. That's where the Facebooks, the Netflix, the Amazons are created and separated from the pets.com. During the dot-com bubble, a lot of really scammy, sketchy, shitty projects went poo-poo. How many Facebooks, Googles, or Amazons came out from the dust of that? So it's anyone's game. And over time, through temporal time and over size, as these ecosystems get larger, will we be able to test the business models and sustainability, feasibility, viability, and desirability for these innovations? I mean, sure, how many weeks ago people were interested in play to earn, and then SLP tanked and that kind of sucked, and people started earning less on a daily basis and people desired it less, and as a consequence, there were challenges on the play to earn ecosystem. What I mean to say is all of these business models are going to be pressure and stress tested, and that's just a reality of commerce, a reality of capitalism, which is to a large extent rewarding if you do things efficiently and properly and penalized if you don't innovate or be able to do anything about it, right? Next up is, will technological advancement keep up with our desire to innovate? We can be as theoretical as we want, right? Ready Player One, I have that vision, but will our lifetime be enough to see these technological advancements? I mean, not to be negative, guys, but like, that shit's hard. It's complicated. I mean, I hope we'll all see this come to fruition, and I hope that technology won't hit a technological ceiling to the point that we can't push further due to those aforementioned limitations. Another is, to what extent will real life be integrated with the metaverse? Because I'm sure a lot of you, wag tayo magpanggap, we spend a good portion of our day and our social life on Messenger, on IG, on Story, on Twitter, on Reddit, playing games, whatever platform you have on your tablet, laptop, or smartphone, right? To what extent will it be integrated? How will this be integrated? Because last time I checked, I can't take a part of my soul and put it in Decentraland, right? I mean, if I go to sleep, I gotta sleep in the real world, in planet Earth, where we're all from, and I can't sleep in Decentraland, or at least not yet. So, to what extent will these things cross boundaries, and to what extent will they interact with each other? Another one, super serious note, all of these security, safety, data privacy concerns, right? If there are crimes or bad things by bad people that happen on metaverses, how do we deal with that? How do we create a legislative or judicial process to prosecute accordingly, right? And we're seeing those things happen on Facebook, where Facebook's being accused of inciting violence or aggression, being accused of racism, xenophobia, some targeted attacks towards minorities. They're also being accused of, or to an extent proven, data privacy issues with the whole Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal and the Facebook papers and all of that stuff, right? It's something, food for thought, right? To what extent are we going to opt in? Or the more interesting question, to what extent can we opt out of the metaverse the same way it's so hard to opt out of Facebook right now? How many third-party apps do you guys have attached to your Facebook, right? And this was something that, Belle and I were discussing, I think, last night, about sometimes you want to take a social media Facebook break, turn off your account, pero ang daming third-party applications na nakasalalay dun sa Facebook. So, very interesting. Now, lastly is a bit more social justice-esque, but nonetheless important. Is the metaverse an opt-out of responsibility for real-life problems? Things like climate change, hyperinflation in certain nation states, or failures of governments and states to get their shit together, right? I mean, circling back to Ready Player One, we really saw a really crappy environment. People living under the poverty line, living in dirty, haphazard, dystopian-esque environments. Pero when they put in their VR or use their headset, they're now transported to the oasis of Ready Player One, where their life or their persona takes a new life of its own, and they become a new person in the metaverse. And that gives them actualization, happiness, joy, comfort, whatever, right? And that's just something that I'd want to leave to you guys. The rhetorical question of, are you going to enter the metaverse? And to what extent are you going to be involved in it? Where do we draw the line in terms of our real life? Where do we draw the line in terms of our privacy? So with that, maraming salamat. Let's get on to your favorite portion, crypto watch lists. Not necessarily metaverse tokens, but some tokens our team at Buhawi and Open Journal has been participating in. Firstly is Luna, right? A lot of these charts are going to look similar to each other, and we're seeing things break out, pull back to their breakout point, and consolidate. Next up, Solana, new all-time highs, again, breaking out, retesting, still above your short-term exponential moving averages, which means that the uptrend is arguably still intact. So Luna, Solana, we have Avalanche or AVAX, one of my favorite picks, all-time high, then pullback. So some of us kasi might have a mindset na, ay, wag ka na bilhin yan all-time high. Bilhin ko na lang yung mura, yung SLP, yung down 70-80%. Guys, the market's forward looking and things are cheap or expensive for a reason. And please don't chase prices. Use technical analysis to get a setup and operationalize a disciplined entry. You can get your pullback to your short-term moving averages, a 5-day or a 10-day. So what I mean is, make life simple. Trade market leaders. Don't short leaders and don't be too smart about it, getting cheaper projects, which are probably priced in cheap for a reason. And let's go on to the path of least resistance. Next up, we have EGLD, Elrond, right? Same pattern, volatility contraction, breaking out, retesting, a lot of ways in which you can enter this. And yeah, don't chase without base and wait for the pause days or quiet or a pullback to your short-term moving averages. Another one is Quant. So thank you, Habs, for sharing this and putting it in our radar, I think last night. Something we can check out as well. On the verge there of your breakout, you have a high, a low, your lower high and lower low, thus making that a legitimate trend line, right? And the breakout of that can be bought, or you can get a probe position as early as now. Up to you. Please trade at your own risk and please invest judiciously. So with that, guys, maraming salamat. Just a few announcements before we wrap up and go on to Q&A. I'll stick around. Apologies for overtime by a bit. Please check out the Open Journal YouTube page, guys. Kung ayaw nyo ma-FOMO sa free, awesome content, please hit the subscribe and bell so you can hit the bell to enable notifications so wala kayong FOMO. Check it out. Another one is, guys, medyo late sa party, but we are here. Open Journal on Instagram, Open Journal PH. If you guys are gonna post something about this talk, if you enjoyed it, magsa-story kayo to express yourselves, please tag us so we can reshare it and be connected with you. We invite you to check out our Instagram. We post mga contests or special updates here. So if you want first dibs at joining contests, potential free stuff or sales, check it out. And last but not the least, we recognize that cryptocurrency, blockchain, metaverse, it's a mouthful, sobrang hirap, complicated. Normal, guys. It's a new technology. Even myself, it's minsan nosebleed to understand all of these things. But we're here to help you understand, and we're also here to make your trading journey better in any way we can. We invite you to join our Open Journal family. The QR code to check it out is on the next screen. So if you have any questions or concerns about this, message me, and dropping my handles here and the QR code to be connected with the Open Journal. Maraming salamat and opening the floor for any questions you guys might have. Thank you and appreciate your time.
Ayun. Thank you so much, Joseph, for your very informative presentation on the metaverse. No? So guys, we'll just we realize na it's six na, so we'll just entertain a couple, maybe two or three questions before we wrap up. So guys, if you have your questions about the metaverse, feel free, or anything related to like Open Journal or even um, PDAX, both ways naman. I'm here to answer PDAX questions. Joseph also for Open Journal or about the presentation. Game lang, guys. Any
Yep.
questions about the metaverse?
If you have some trading questions, go lang, but I'll try to answer the most relevant questions insofar as my
Yeah.
presentation was concerned. That
Um,
would help the majority of folks.
maybe I can start.
Sure.
Joseph,
Go
I have
ahead.
a
Go ahead.
question to you about the metaverse. No. Um, you also mentioned it already in the the end of your presentation. A lot of the of your two sats, so I won't ask much anymore. But um, I guess like for those that are still like maybe if they didn't catch, and by the way, if you haven't watched the crypto convos of Joseph last month, I believe, or the 2 months ago regarding NFTs, I highly recommend you to watch that. It's live on our YouTube page as well. Like Siguro for those that are still not into NFTs, maybe what's your like 1 minute explainer for why NFTs are really here to stay, because they still don't get na it's just a JPEG or whatnot.
Sure. So, what an NFT essentially is a file, whether that be a video, a picture, or an asset that's connected to the blockchain. And it's something verifiable and made authentic on the blockchain. And it's not fungible in the sense that you can't exchange it for an equivalent. It's a unique token of its own versus fungible things like fiat currency or even crypto. Bitcoin is fungible. You can divide it, you can swap it. My one Bitcoin is the same as your one Bitcoin. My one Ethereum could be divided into dalawang tranche ng zero point 0.5 Ethereum mo, but you can't do that for NFTs. And that essentially makes it important. Now, why are they here to say? One phrase: tokenization of culture. And we're seeing that happen on the metaverse in the same way that the flex culture in real life, when people are using their NFT pictures as a profile picture on Twitter, that's super awesome. I can't wait till we can verify that, till Twitter has a vetting process to verify whether or not you are really the owner of that NFT. So all of the fake peeps are gonna get canceled, or you can do it and bahala ka, you just won't be verified. The same way that blue tick mark on Twitter has so much value, I think there's going to be a similar mechanism for flexing or authenticating NFTs.
Awesome. Thanks for that. And siguro related to that, just one more regarding NFTs. Mark asks, is NFT for high investors only? So I'm not sure. I think when what he referred to like high investors, siguro for yung if you have deep pockets, no. Um,
Sure, that's a great question, Mark. And I would say no, because you have NFTs of different price ranges, the same way you have a phone, a car, or a laptop for all budgets, all specifications. It's really up to you to check out what NFT means to you, whether that be through participating in a play to earn economy like Axie Infinity, or whether that be treating it as a digital collectible na you just want to hold it and treat it like digital art, or you just want to flip it. I know some people like from our team, Jessa from the Open Journal team, and people like Berto from Open Journal who have been flipping NFTs. Revan as well. Shout out to Open Journal peeps who've made a killing or have really went down the rabbit hole on NFT flipping. It's really up to your trade strategy and approach, or up to how you want to make off your participation in NFTs. But yeah, please be careful. Just wanted to say that at least from observation, not perfect correlation, but as Ethereum goes higher, medyo nabubugbog yung NFTs in the sense that it's harder and more expensive to transact, whether you're going to mint stuff or bid or buy or sell. These are some challenges we're seeing right now in the ecosystem. So I hope that answers your question. No, it's not for people with deep pockets only. Just do your research and see what relatively affordable or cheap or sulit NFTs are, which suit your investment thesis and horizon.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And Siguro, let's wrap it up with this final question. Any of these questions pique your interest,
Sure.
Joseph?
Let me check. Yeah, I'll just take a look at this and try to answer something that I might have not talked about yet.
Guys, if you're tuning in, just hello from PDAX and Open Journal. No, PDAX is the Philippine Digital Asset Exchange. You can buy and sell crypto. Get started by downloading our app on the App Store, Google Play Store, or Huawei App Gallery. Just search us up and get started in minutes. Do your KYC and buy your first Bitcoin or Ethereum and much more. So, yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Nice. Thanks for the plug, bro Kyle. And yeah, maybe this last question. It's a good question. I can flesh it out. From Mikel, hope I'm not butchering your name. Aside from in meta purchases, what gives a meta token its value? Or what gives a metaverse token its value? So aside from its use case within the ecosystem, it's also the network effect on the world, meaning as the pie of cryptocurrency increases by virtue of adoption for all things Bitcoin, all things DeFi, all things Ethereum, I would argue that the slice for NFT would also increase, given that a lot of the blockchains in which they're built on are either on Ethereum or derivative in some way as a scaling solution or layer 2 for Ethereum. So as the space grows by virtue of the network effect, as people adopt it, it gains value in terms of size. It also becomes more valuable as more people enter that ecosystem, right? And I think that's where the question lies. Sure, the space can grow larger and larger, but what incentive do you have for people to participate in your metaverse versus every other Tom, Dick, and Harry's metaverse, which I characterized are quite a lot? And I'm sure in my presentation today, you saw some similarities, right? A huge degree of overlap with what you can do and what they posit, which is why I'm really waiting for a solution to bridge all of these things together, if that's even possible, and how all of these things are going to interact in a more seamless and non fragmented way so that the network effect of a particular project becomes mutually beneficial to the network effect of other projects, meaning it's it doesn't cannibalize, but it mutually benefits each other. And that just makes things larger in terms of total addressable market, as well as just more fun and bigger in terms of reach and scope. Because now you're not just limited to your own network, but also the network effect you can leverage on other projects, assuming it becomes cross blockchain. Hope that answers the question.
All right. And with that, we wrap up. That was a blast. Thank you so much, Joseph, for the very informative and entertaining presentation on the metaverse and the future we may live in now. So yeah, with that being said, we wrap and conclude this month's Crypto Convos. As we said before, this is a regular partnership with Open Journal where we have it monthly. So if you guys want to learn more and be on the lookout no, for at least more crypto convos, we highly suggest you join our Facebook community over at our page. You can find us there, and also our Telegram community. And if you want to reach Joseph, feel free to plug open
Yeah,
channel.
Kyle, just a few last words. So thank you, PDAX, as well, for this opportunity. I love being here every month and sharing these things. Salamat, and see you guys next month. But if you wanna ask more questions, you can reach out to me personally at Broseph Joseph on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever. And you can also message Open Journal Facebook page if you have specific questions to our premium subscription or other stuff, which I'll personally as well handle that and be there. So just wanted to say thank you to, thank you, Javi, Matt, and Jessa for all of the support, as well as the Open Journal fam and community. Salamat sa mga ka-PDAX out there watching and attending here, mga ka-investa as well. And, special shout out, thank you, Bell and CoinFem, for all of the assists with research, as well as the prompts on the chat. I saw those and answering questions. Really appreciate it. Maraming salamat. Please stay safe, guys. Good luck trading. May we have a path of least resistance to more all-time highs, and stay safe. Don't get corned beef or wrecked, and have a great balanced week ahead, fam.
All right. Thank you, everyone. See you for mga kapidak. See you Friday. And for the next crypto convo sometime next week. Next month, we'll let you know. Bye bye.